So let's continue. So where did we stop? Example 2. Okay, now come to example 2. So what is happening here? B2 wants to invest 50 lakhs after what, Nana? 6 months for 3 months. How can we read that? So look at the quote. FRA 6 into 9, 8% to 10%. What does it mean, guys? What does it mean? It means that you will be taking loan after 6 months for a period of 3 months. That is nothing but difference between these two. Okay. And if you take loan, bank will be charging you how much interest? 10%. If you deposit, bank will be giving you 8%. Fantastic. Right. Now see here. What is Bittu doing? He sells FRA 6 into 9. Sells means what? He is depositing. We call it as contract to invest. Contract to invest. It is not contract to borrow. Okay. He sells FRA, which means he invests. 6 into 9 at 8% per annum. Obviously, when you invest, bank will give you less. Chalo. What are we going to calculate? We're going to calculate effect on FRA and effective rate of interest. If rate of interest after 6 months or 3 months, in case 1 becomes what, Nana? 5%. In case 2 becomes how much? 9% per annum. Very simple. See here. Case 1. Now you are investing, correct? Earlier we were taking the loan. We were borrowing, but now we are investing. Keep that in mind. So in case 1, the rate of interest has fallen down, which we don't want to happen as an investor, correct? Yes. So it has fallen down and it has become how much, Nana? 5%. In that case, what happens? Effect on FRA. Citibank will pay to Ram or Bittu, whoever it is, are able to understand. Present value of differential amount, correct? Why? Because there are two banks. This is one bank, this is FRA bank, which is nothing but Citibank, which we are thinking. Okay. So what's going to happen in this case? You people tell me what's going to happen. The agreement was for 8%. Right now the interest is 5%, which means basically Bittu will pay only 5%. Actually, he'll pay 5%. Sorry, he will receive 5%. Sorry. This Mokku technology has really irritated me. Chalo. So this is one bank. The other bank is what, Nana? Citibank. Okay, this is FRA bank, right? So Bittu has invested. What was the agreement? That he should get an interest of 8% on the investment, whereas now he is getting only 5%. So which means the balance 3% will come from Citibank. Are you able to understand? FRA. Now, will they give you complete 3%? No. What they will do? They'll try to discount it and then they'll give you present value of differential interest. Now, very simple. What is the amount that you have invested? 50 lakhs. Okay. On that, how much is the differential one? 5%, 8%. What is the differential one? 3%. 3%. You have invested it for how many months? 3 months only. After 6 months, for 3 months. Which means for 3 months, I'll be getting interest divided by what is the interest through which you will discount current rate interest. On that day, what is the interest? 5%. Correct? 5% per annum. We need to calculate for 3 months. So 5 divided by 4. How much it comes? 1.25%. Correct? Divided by 100. You'll get 0.0125 plus 1. 1.0125. Correct? Yes. All right. You discounted this much only the FRA bank will pay you. Are you able to understand? Yes. Everybody. So what will be the effective rate of interest? Obviously, you will receive from bank only 5%, but Citibank will give you how much? 3%. Totally, you'll be receiving how much, Nana? 8%. So did you get what you have agreed for? Yes. In case 2, what happens? It is 9% per annum, correct? In case 2, which means you have agreed to invest and get an interest of 8% per annum, but now the actual interest has become 9%. In that case, what will happen? So there are two banks. This is a bank where you have taken loan. This is FRA bank. Are you able to understand? From this bank, you are getting an interest of 9%. Are you able to understand? Correct? But will the FRA bank be quiet? No. You should be getting only 8%. You are getting how much? 9%. The differential 1% should be made payment should be done by Bittu to whom? FRA bank. Bittu will not pay everything. He'll pay what? Present value of the differential interest. Discounted on that rate. What is the rate? 9%. So which means 9% divided by 4. Because it is for 3 months. So 4 quarters. How much it comes? 2.25 divided by 100. 0.0225 plus 1. 1.0225 will be the discount rate. Correct? Did we get that? So 50 lakhs into differential interest is 1% into 3 by 12 because it is for 3 months. Discounted 1.0225. Correct? You get this much of amount. This much who will pay? B2 will pay to whom? FRA bank. Are you able to understand? Yes, everybody. Hello. Finally, effective rate of interest is you will receive 9% from the bank, but differential amount will be paid to Citibank. And how much exactly is your interest? 8%. Here I've written all the other things. Fixed rate or slightly higher than floating rates. Are you able to understand? Which means floating rates are basically lower. That is the reason people go for floating rates. Normally it will be 1 to 2.5%, which will be higher fixed rate. That is the logic behind why people go for floating rates. So banks also offer floating rate loans at lower cost because these loans help them to match the interest rate exposure of their own short-term liabilities. Are you able to understand? Because their short-term liabilities is subject to interest rate fluctuations. So when they give floating rate loans, what will happen? Once their short-term liability interest rate increases, here they will also get more interest in this and then they can match their liabilities. Are you able to understand? But if they get fixed rate interest, they cannot match the liabilities that they have. Are you able to understand? So they will also prefer to give floating rate interest. Are you able to get me? Because for us, what is loan? For bank, it is asset. Na. Bank will also deposit it somewhere else. Or it will give loan to somebody else. Isn't it? Are you able to understand? Yes. So they're not going to keep things idle. So therefore, for us, if they have invested some money, okay, in a short-term liability, are you able to understand? They're going to get differential kind of an interest or changing interest. In that kind, they can match these two so that it's easy for them to manage. Are you able to understand? That's also one reason. Anyway, that's a technical reason. That's okay. And another thing is that floating rate will be subject to revision every quarter. It will not revise every day. Are you able to understand? Every 3 months once revision will happen. And mostly in India, what happens? The floating rate interest will be pegged to what? Base rate, which is determined by RBI. Just like LIBOR. Are you able to understand? That base rate will be there. Upon that, it will keep on fluctuating. Plus 5%, sorry, plus 0.5%, plus 1%, something like that. Are you able to get me? Everybody? So, another thing is that there is no prepayment penalty. Where there will be no prepayment penalty if you take loan based on floating rate. That is another advantage. Also, floating loan is best if you see potential rise of income in future. For example, startups. So in startups, what happens? They burn out a lot of cash at the beginning, but all of a sudden their business will what? Pick up like anything once they go for a hit. Correct? In that case, it's better to go for floating loan. Why? Because they can do prepayment. Yes, right? Okay. Also, if you go for fixed interest rate, for example, if current rate reduces after an announcement by RBI, now also announcement has come today, so which means the interest rate is going to get increased. Are you able to understand? Think otherwise. If it's going to get reduced, then what will happen? It will not affect the loans already borrowed by the company based on previous interest rates. Correct? That will hurt them a lot. Are you able to get me? So that is the reason, in case if you have a doubt that why would somebody go for floating rates, I gave you all possible reasons over here. You got the point? Everybody? Fantastic. So what is that we have seen? Let's revise one more time. We started with what? Interest rate risk management, where we said that there are two types of rates of interest. One is fixed rate, the other one is floating rate, which a bank can offer. If you go for fixed rate, mostly there are no risk because it's constant for 10 years, same interest, irrespective of anything that happens around the world. But generally, companies will prefer to go for floating rate for the reasons which I have explained just now. Okay. So when you go for floating rate, obviously there is a risk. When you invest, there is a risk. When you take a loan also, there is a risk. When you invest, what happens? You don't want the interest to go down in future, right? When you try to take a loan, you don't want the interest to rise up in future. Correct? That is one thing. Second thing is, in this, I'm not going to need a loan, or I'm not going to invest immediately, today or tomorrow. I'm gonna need a loan after 3 months. But I know that I need it today itself, which means I know that I'm gonna need a loan of so much after 3 months, which I know today. Are you able to understand? So what will I do? I'll go to a bank. I'll say that, see, I'm gonna need loan after 3 months. What's the interest? Please tell me. So today it is 10%. Okay, fine. After 3 months, I'm gonna come and take the loan. You please give it to me at 10%. So no, sir, it will vary because you are taking floating rate of interest. You are not taking loan based on fixed rate. Are you able to understand? He says, okay, fine. And he has got this feeling that interest rate might increase. Then he'll be at loss. So what he does, he goes to a FRA bank and says that, see, this is my problem. What FRA bank tells him, don't worry about that. What is the interest that you want to fix upon? 10%, right? So we'll ensure that it is 10%. Are you able to understand? So tomorrow, if it becomes 12%, you still pay 12% to the bank from which you are about to take a loan, but FRA bank will compensate you with the 2%. Are you able to understand? They'll pay you 2%. Yes. Suppose if the interest rate has fallen to 8%, you will pay 8% to the bank from which you have taken loan, but according to the FRA agreement, you should pay back the balance 2% to whom? FRA bank. So it works both ways. Are you able to get me? Everybody. Yes. That is what we have seen at the beginning. After that, we went a little bit deeper. But before that, we tried to understand what this is. So if FRA is equal to 3 into 9 is equal to 8% to 10%, what does it mean? After 3 months, you're gonna need loan for 6 months, or you're gonna deposit for 6 months, whatever it is. If you deposit, you're gonna get 8%. If you get a loan, you're gonna get 10%. Okay. After that, we have seen some examples. So in this example, what did we see? If you wanna buy FRA means obviously you're taking loan. 3 by 9 means after 3 months, you're gonna need a loan requirement for how many months? 6 months at a rate of 10.5%. Are you able to understand? Yes. So what does it mean? It means that customer has got a contract to borrow some amount at 10.5% after 3 months for a period of 6 months. Correct? He feels that the interest rate is going to increase. That's the reason he is going for locking the rate of loan. You understand the point? Similarly, customer can also sell. Selling means he's trying to invest. At what rate here? 10%. 3 by 9 means after 3 months, he's going to invest for how much time, Nana? 6 months. Are you able to get me? Yes? Everybody? Right, fantastic. Then we have seen that FRA can be used for hedging as well as what, Nana? Arbitraging. First, we try to understand how FRA can be used for hedging. Arbitraging we'll see later through the problems. So we take an example. B2 wants to borrow 40 lakhs after 3 months for 6 months at a floating rate. Right now the rate is 9%. So the bank quotes like this, FRA bank. 3 by 9 after 3 months you can take for 6 months. If you want to take loan, it is 11%. Deposit 10%. He is taking loan because he is buying. Buying means contract to borrow. He is going to take loan. At what rate? 11%. If it becomes 13%, what happens? He will pay 13% to the bank from which he has taken loan, but FRA bank will pay him how much, Nana? The balance 2%. So that 13% minus 2%, his interest will be 11% only. But here we have seen a twist. What is the twist? Bank will not pay the entire 2%. They will only pay present value of the differential interest. Okay, present value means, sir, will you discount the interest? Yes. At what rate, sir? On that day, whatever the rate is, with that rate. For example, in this example, what is the rate? 13%, which means they'll discount at 13% itself. For 6 months means it is 6.5%. Therefore, 1.065. Got the point? Yes. Okay. Effective interest rate we have already seen. It should come to how much? 11%, which you have agreed upon. Suppose if it becomes 8%, what will happen? You will pay to the bank 8% only from which you have taken what? Loan. But what was the agreement with the FRA bank? 11%, which means you have to pay 3% to the FRA bank, so that your total interest comes to how much? 11%. When you are paying also, you will not pay the entire 3% interest. You will also discount it on that particular rate. What is the rate? 8%. For 6 months, 4%. So divided by 1.04, and that much you will give to the whole. If you observe this carefully, automatically bank is getting benefited here. I don't know whether you are able to understand or not. When they are giving us, they are discounting at 13%, which is always be higher. It will be higher. But when we are giving them, we are discounting at only 8%. Did you see that? Straight away they have a benefit. Are you able to understand? This will be permanent because always the loan rate will be higher, the deposit rate will be lower, which means always when we pay, we discount it at a lesser rate, therefore we pay them more. Correct? When they pay us, they discount it at a higher rate and they'll pay us less. There itself they'll get that benefit. Are you able to understand? Right. Anyways, that's the thing. Okay. After that, what we have seen? That's it. Then we have seen depositing. First we have seen loan. Then we have seen what, Nana? Depositing. Same stuff. What is the rate agreed upon? 8% for the deposit. In case 1 it was 5%. Case 2 it is 9%. So in 5% what happens? You will pay to the bank. You will receive from bank 5%. Correct? Right? But according to the FRA agreement from the other bank, FRA bank, you should be getting 8%, which means this bank will pay you 3%. Here you will be receiving from the bank where you have invested 5%. Where you have invested, you will be getting 5%. And the compensation will be coming from FRA bank in the form of 3%. Total will be how much? 8%, which you have agreed upon. In case if it is 9%, then what will happen? You will be getting 9% from the bank where you have invested. Then you have to pay to the FRA bank 1% so that your net interest is always 8% what you receive. Correct? Same logic here also. When he's gonna pay you, he will discount and pay you on that day, that particular rate, which means 5% in this case. Correct? When you gonna pay him, you will also discount and pay him, which is 9%. Correct? All right, Nana. So what? And finally, we have seen why floating rate is better when compared to what? Fixed rate, which we have already discussed. Got it? That's it. The intro part of this chapter is done. Okay, Nana. You can just take some pics, Nana. We don't have time. We'll wind up the class. Just take the pics. When you find a free time or tomorrow morning, if you have some 5 or 10 minutes, you just copy that down, finish it off. Okay, we'll start with the problems tomorrow and then we'll go on with the other concepts. This one is clear, right? Till here it's clear? Yes? All right, chalo. That's it. Great. From where you have to take photos today? Okay, you can take from here. What is it? Okay. This one is done? Okay, this one. Take it, Nana. And guys, please put it in the group. Okay? Online students, they can pause the video and they can copy. But you don't have the facility. Okay? Video recording students, they can pass and they can copy. No problem. Done? Can I go down? Next. Done? Chalo. Last one. This is the last one. Finish it off. Done, Nana? Chalo, let's wind up.